Shabbat Shalom, giving all praise and glory to the Most High Power, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, allowing us to see another day closer to the kingdom. Hallelujah, that was glorious and holy name. Um, we will continue on the topic that we've been going over and bringing the orders of everything to the table. I'll probably be going over some meat tonight, so have your pencil and pad or paper, whatever you want to write in, notebook together so you can take good notes. When I'm recording this, it's going to be live, so you can go over it if you miss anything, hopefully. And stay with me to the end. Should be very interesting. And what we're going to bring out through the spirit of the Most High. There's a lot of things going on in this world right now. You know, I was thinking, they showed us movies, The Purge and all that. And who knows how it's going to be. People having no food. And I posted on my Facebook page how these two Edomites, a man and a woman, they said they're going after people that have food in their carts. Say, we're not going to go hungry. They look crazy too. But it is what it is. I mean, people going to find a way to survive. That's for sure. So just be watchful, keep your eyes open, and don't allow yourself to be slipping at this time. It's very important. And like, share the video so that the algorithm can go up, even though people have told me they liked it and didn't move at all. They just remain the same. So, because we're dealing with some deep spiritual information on this channel and the channels that we have for Shield of Wisdom Israelites, and Preach the Awam YouTube channels. So I know a lot of things that we're bringing out, they don't want the public to know, because you'll be able to change what it is that they have people, and especially us, saying continually. Like LORD, which is BAAL. You can look it up in any Bible dictionary and you'll see. That's what it means. But to get our people to really see it, I mean, they're listening, but to get them to really see it and change, that's the whole problem. Everybody got to learn what we're teaching. So it behooves anyone that hear this teaching to look at what it says, make it mean something different or change. Simple as that. So it's always going to start with Colossians 3:17. And whatsoever you do in word or deed, do all by Shem Mashiach Yahushua, giving thanks to the Most High and the Father by Shem Mashiach Yahushua. So I want to look at a lot of things here tonight, because in the spirit, a lot of things is really, and you're going to see that. I'm going to show you that if it was for everybody to know what this Bible is really talking about, then it would have been clearly written so that you could just read it and understand it. And if not, then you know that it's not. That's why you look at while everything we say is going to be in the name of the Lord and Savior, Mashiach Yahushua, and we give thanks to the Most High through Mashiach Yahushua in the name of the Lord and Savior, Bashem Mashiach Yahushua. We thank the Most High for his wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, because all glory and honor and praise goes to the Most High. But nobody's really looking at him enough, in my eyesight, unless you can prove me wrong, the things that he's doing on this earth and have done in the past, the present, and what he's going to do in the future, behind people not really exalting him and giving him the glory that he deserves. We're going to see he's going to show up and show out for real, for real. Then we're going to see you know, a whole lot of oh my GODs gonna come from everybody. Every knee gonna bow, and every tongue will confess that he is the power, you know, straight up. I mean, you have no other choice, you know. It's just a matter of who are you really gonna believe in? Who you gonna stick with? You know, I've seen people come and go. Unbelievable. It's really unbelievable right now when I think about it, because you would never believe the things that and the people that have come in and out of this truth, man. It's unbelievable. But it's real because they're not here in the capacity that they were in. They would have kept, you know, building, telling where we'd be at. And all praise to the glory to the Most High that you're here and I'm still moving in the spirit of the Most High as much as I can. And you got to look at what they have planned for everyone so that you don't get caught up in it. And if you do, then, hey, you're going to see you got to still stick with the Most High, stick with the Mashiach Yahushua, and you'll be all right. If not, then I don't know what to tell you except for you're on your own. You're on your own. And it's gonna be a terrible thing to be just on your own, and then you got to try and seek the Most High, and he's nowhere to be found. So you got to think about that now. When he said they're gonna seek me and you can't not gonna find me. You're not gonna find him. So I wanna look at Revelations. We're gonna go to some prophecy and go to Revelation, the 13th chapter tonight. Let me sit open. Let's see. Revelation 13th chapter. Because you know, you don't know what these people are going to do. But I know what the scripture says. We're going to look at what the scripture says, and just so that you know, without shadow of doubt, you be ready for whatever going down. Look at Revelation 13. We'll look at verse 2. It says, and the beast, which I saw was like unto a leopard, right? Now, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power and his seat and great authority, right? So let's look at this beast, because so we established something. Let me see if I can find a scripture pertaining to the beast. I was as a beast. Look at Psalms 73 and 22. So you see that it's not talking about some animal or some prehistoric creature or something. Look at Psalm 73 and 22. It says, so foolish was I. Psalm 73, verse 22. So foolish was I and ignorant. I was as a beast before thee. You see? So we know he's saying, so foolish was I and ignorant. That's in darkness. That's what I tell you. That darkness means foolish and ignorant, not knowing. I was as a beast before thee. You see? So this is hip talk. That's why I say, by the time you get to the New Testament, you're supposed to know what these words mean. that they're using here, because the Bible going to define itself. You don't have to go far, outside the Bible to um, see what these words, mean. As you say, he's like a beast. So this a beast. So this really dealing with a man. You see, or men. So now it says, and going back to Revelation 13:2 is, and the beast which I saw was like unto a leper, and his feet were as the feet of a bear. Now, it's talking about this beast from verse 1, but I'm just mainly covering what it is I need to deal with pertaining to this beast, this man, or these men, which I saw was like to a leper. And the leper represent the Greek Empire, the Greek kingdom, when they first came to power, the past, and Alexander the Greek, the first ruler that took down the Persian and Mede Empire, Alexander the Greek. And so it's going to the past for us. Now go to Daniel 7:6. Daniel 7:6. 7th chapter, the 6th verse. After this I beheld, and lo, another like a leper, which had upon the back of it 4 wings of a fowl. The beast had also 4 heads, and dominion was given to it. Now, if you just look at this, a lot of times when they show this in their depictions of the Bible through pictures and so forth, they would show a leper, a leper, which had upon his back of it 4 wings. So the leper would have 4 wings coming out of a fowl, like a bird. The beast had also 4 heads. And then you have 4 heads coming from, you have the beast head, then you have 2 heads over here and 2 heads over here, right? On this leper. And dominion was given to it. So why I say that this not for everybody, what does that mean? What does that mean, what we just read in Daniel? You would not understand that. You would have no clue of that if you didn't know history, I'll say. If you know history, then you can figure it out, because it's talking about things that would happen in history. Like I said, the leper represent the Greek Empire coming into power, taking down the Persian Mede Empire. And that first king, who was Alexander the Greek. We're going to look at Daniel's 8 and 8. And it says, therefore, the he-goat waxed very great. So now it's a goat. First it was a leper, right? Now it's a goat. Therefore, the he-goat waxed very great. And when he was strong, the great horn was broken, and for it came up 4 notable ones toward the 4 winds of heaven. Now, if you don't know history, that means nothing to you. I mean, you just read that. This is probably why crisp insanity people don't deal with the Old Testament, because they don't know what it's talking about. Like, can you figure that out for what I just read? Therefore, the he goat, that's a male goat, waxed very great, and when he was strong, the great horn was broken. So the horn one of his horns on his head was broken. For it came up 4 notable ones toward the 4 winds of heaven, right? So this is talking about Alexander the Greek. Their symbol, the Edomite symbol, is a goat, the goat head. Got the 2 horns, floppy ears, and the goat teeth. That's the 5-point star. You look at it, for real, So, and they represent the goat. What do they call their children? What do they call their kids? Kids, right? What's a kid? A baby goat. But we have children. We call our children children. You don't call them kids because they're not baby goats, but they call them their children kids. And we follow suit of everything that they have done. That's a prime example right there. You know, that they follow suit of everything that they put out. We do the same thing. We follow from whatever it is that they say we're supposed to do. That's why, I have little children. They don't say, you can't call them no kid. They say, I'm a child. I'm not no kid. Ain't no baby goat. It might sound strange to you too. You might still call your children kids. But a baby goat is a kid. Think about it. Here it is right here. Like I tell you, BAAL mean LORD. If you say LORD, you're talking about BAAL. But you keep saying it. What it's going to take to get you to realize that's wrong. You see? And it says, so it's telling us in Daniel 8:8, therefore the he goat waxed very great. And when he was strong, the great horn was broken, meaning Alexander the Greek, that's the he goat. He lived and reigned from 20 years old to 32 years old. And he died. When it says the great horn was broken, he died at 32 years old. And it says, and for it came up four notable ones toward the four winds of heaven. That's his four generals: Cassander, Seleucus, Lysimachus, and Ptolemy. That's Cassander, Lysimachus, Seleucus, and Ptolemy. Those four came up in his stead. Now, when you look at First Maccabees in the Apocrypha, let me find my Apocrypha. Selected. I don't have one. I have annotated here. Just a moment. I'm gonna roll. Go. Okay, I'm ready. We're gonna go to First Maccabees, the first chapter. So they took the 14 books out of the Bible because this is gonna be pretty self-explanatory. Um, First Maccabees 1 and 1. First Maccabees 1 and 1. And First Maccabees and Second Maccabees goes in between Malachi and Matthew. Because when you're in Malachi, the last prophet of the Old Testament, you're in the Persian and Mede Empire. When you get to Matthew, you're in the Roman Empire. So First Maccabees here in the Apocrypha, this is the Greek Empire. And you'll see what it says. It says the first book of the Maccabees, chapter 1, it says, and it happened after that Alexander, son of Philip, the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Chittim, had smitten Darius, king of the Persian and Mede. See, Alexander took down the Persian and Mede, right? Empire. That he reigned in his stead the first over Greece. See, um, Jada Dixon, you You need to listen and take notes. I don't need you to put any scriptures in there. That's a distraction from what I'm teaching. It says, and made many wars and won many strongholds and slew the kings of the earth, right? And went through to the ends of the earth and took spoils of many nations, insomuch that the earth was quiet before him. Whereupon he also waxed, wherefore he was exalted, and his heart was lifted up, his mind was lifted up. And he gathered a mighty strong host, that host his army, and ruled over countries and nations and kings who became tributaries unto him. They paid taxes unto him. And after these things, he fell sick. Just like it said in Daniel's. It says in Daniel's 8:8, therefore the he-goat waxed great, very great. Let's talk about Alexander the Greek. And when he was strong, the great horn was broken, right? So now it says here, verse 5 of First Maccabees, it says, and after these things, he fell sick and perceived that he should die. That's that horn that broke. That's when he died. Wherefore he called his servants, such as were honorable and had been brought up with him from his youth, and parted his kingdom among them while he was yet alive, right? What does it say in Daniel's 8:8? The great horn was broken, and for it came up four notable ones toward the four winds of heaven. Different directions, that he gave his kingdom to. That was, like I said, that was Cassander, Lysimachus, Ptolemy, and Seleucus. Those four generals that he set up, like I said here. In verse 6 of First Maccabees, the first chapter, wherefore he called his servants, that was his four generals, such as were honorable and had been brought up with him from his youth, and parted his kingdom among them while he was yet alive. So while he was yet alive, he parted his kingdom among these four generals. And they had different parts of his kingdom and different, all north, south, east, and west. It says, so Alexander reigned 12 years. That's from 20 years old to 32 years old. And he died. Okay? It said, and his servants bear rule everyone in his stead. That's the four generals of this name. Cassander, Seleucus, Ptolemy, and Lysimachus. Those four generals. And after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves. This is verse 9. I mean, they had power, rule, and authority. So did their sons after them many years. So after they died, their sons took over many years. And evils, hear this? And evils were multiplied in the earth. That's why when you look at Proverbs 16 and 4, Proverbs 16 and 4, it says, Proverbs the 16th chapter, the 4th verse, it says, the Most High have made all things for himself. Yeah, even the wicked for the day of evil. See that? The Most High made all things for himself. Yeah, even the wicked for the day of evil. So here we are. Well, you see, when the Greeks came into power, it tells you point blank. In First Maccabees 1:9, and after his death, after Alexander died at the age of 32 years old, they all put crowns upon themselves. That's his four generals. So did their sons after them many years, and evils were multiplied in the earth. So the Most High made everything for himself. Yeah, even the wicked for the day of evil, right? And Job 9:24 says, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He who is the wicked covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? Who is it that he's saying that painted themselves to be the Most High in Bibles? Painted themselves to be a Mashiach Yahushua in Bibles. It was them. So going back to First Maccabees, the first chapter, and verse 10, it said, and there came out of them a wicked root Antiochus, surnamed Epiphanes. Antiochus Epiphanes, son of Antiochus the king, who had been an hostage at Rome. And he reigned in the 137th year of the kingdom of the Greeks. So what's it talking about? It's talking about the first kingdom of the so-called white man, the Greek Empire. You hear what it says clearly in the Bible. He reigned in the 137th year of the kingdom of the Greeks. See that? So look at Daniel's 8 and 9. The way it's written, like I say, now we have an understanding of what it's saying, the understanding of what Daniel 8 and 8 is saying from what we just read. Now, verse 9, Daniel's 8 and 9. And out of one of them came forth a little horn, which waxed exceeding great toward the south and toward the east and toward the pleasant land, which is Israel. And it waxed great, even to the host of heaven. And it cast down some of the host and of the stars to the ground and stamped upon them. Yeah, he magnified himself even to the prince of the host. And by him, the daily sacrifice was taken away, and the place of his sanctuary was cast down. And an host, which means an army, was given him against the daily sacrifice by reason of transgression. And it cast down the truth to the ground. That's why I tell you it's important to know the definition of these words according to the Bible. You know, it says, cast down the truth to the ground. We know the truth is Psalms 119, 142. Let's sing it together, class. Thy righteousness is an everlasting righteousness, and thy law is the truth. So he cast the law to the ground, and it practiced and prospered, right? So now, let's go back to First Maccabees, the first chapter, and let's read verse 11, just in case, you look at us as how we were and how we are any different. First Maccabees 1:11. In those days went there out of Israel, amongst us, the 12 tribes of Israel, all the tribes that were there, mainly Judah, Benjamin, Levi, and all the other tribes that was with us. It says, wicked men, hear that? Came out of Israel, wicked men who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant that's a contract and agreement with the heathen that are round about us. For since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow. So this device pleased them well. Then certain of the people were so forward herein. I know a lot of y'all gonna probably, flip out on this one, but it say they were so forward therein, herein, that they went to the king, who gave them license to do after the ordinances of the heathen. And the Most High told us in Jeremiah 10 and 2. See, it's not like we are here, where we just learned how to read. They took the Bible from us, and they took everything that we had from us in slavery, in this captivity. We knew certain things. We grew up knowing certain things. It was passed down from generation to generation to generation. It's not like what we're looking at now and trying to get our people come back to the truth. It's different. It was different. That's why he told us in Jeremiah 10 and 2, he said what? Learn not the ways of the heathen. But what we do, here it is. We're way beyond the Babylonian Empire. We learned their ways. We learned Egyptians. We learned Assyrians' ways. We learned the Babylonians' ways. Then we learned the Persian and Mede ways. Now we're in the Greek Empire. We got all them ways that we done learned of these heathens and being in captivity with them, just like it is now. Listen, it says, verse 13 of First Maccabees, the first chapter. Then certain of the people were so forward herein that they went to the king, who gave them license to do after the ordinances of the heathen. Well, okay, they did as the ordinance of the heathen. Look what they done. Think about this, because a lot of y'all probably up in there. Whereupon they built a place of exercise at Jerusalem, according to the customs of the heathen, gyms, like the heathens did. Remember, they used to be, y'all see the movies. They used to be in there wrestling butt naked. This is wicked. And made themselves uncircumcised. Hear that? Made themselves uncircumcised. You can't make yourself uncircumcised if your ride was circumcised on the 8th day. This talking about made themselves uncircumcised, meaning they stopped following the most high law, statute, commandments, and forsook the holy covenant. See, there it is. And forsook the holy covenant, the contract agreement that the Most High made with the children of Israel, and joined themselves to the heathen and were sold to do mischief or sin, right? So now, remember what it said, and we're going to go over this completely during the Feast of Dedication. You know, you can look at any of my lessons on Feast of Dedication, you get a clear understanding of all that happened. But we're going to jump to verse 41, because I want to make sure that you see that how if the Most High wanted everybody to get this, then you would understand it by just reading what Daniel's have here. When he said, verse 10 of Daniel's 8th chapter, said, and it waxed great, even to the host of heaven, and it cast down some of the hosts and of the stars to the ground, and stamped upon them. Yeah, he magnified himself even to the prince of the hosts. And by him, the daily sacrifice was taken away, and the place of his sanctuary was cast down, right? So the place of our sanctuary was cast down. I mean, he elevated himself. So now we're going to look at 1 Maccabees 1 and 41 to get to understanding. Could this be why they took the Apocrypha out of the Bible? The 14 books out of the Bible just to take this out? Look, it's clear. We talking about when the Greek Empire, the first kingdom or empire of the so-called white man. So we in 1 Maccabees 1 and 41. It said, moreover, King Antiochus, he was of the Seleucid dynasty, wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people. That's New World Order. Don't it sound like that to you? Everybody one people, right? And everyone should leave his laws. Everyone should leave his laws. Who's the laws given to? What laws do the heathen have today? Today. We ain't got to go back then. What laws do they have today that they go by? They got moral laws, civil laws, dietary laws, ceremonial laws that they all could look at, and that's what they follow? No. They tell you in Psalm 96 and 5, for all the gods of the nations are idols. Idols. They do idolatry. We the ones that was given the law. Let me show you that in Psalms 147, 19 and 20. And that's why you see laws. You got to remember these scriptures. These are basics, but it's so important so that whenever you read this Bible, you can understand it. It makes clear sense. Who do you give his laws to? Psalms 147, 19 and 20. He showeth his word unto Jacob, his statutes and his judgments unto Israel. Hear that? He showeth his word unto Jacob, his statutes and his judgment unto Israel. He hath not dealt so with any nation. Hear that? He hath not dealt so with any nation. And as for his judgments, mean the punishment for breaking the laws, these other nations have not known them. Praise ye the Most High. Praise the Most High. So now he's letting you know that, hey, this is talking to us. We're the ones that's so vividly trying to have us not follow the Most High's laws, commandments. Look what he said. 1 Maccabees 1 and 42. And everyone should leave his laws. So all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king. I guess so. They just doing idolatry. Yeah, many also of the Israelites consented to his religion. See? That's why I call religion and mostly just crisp insanity. Because you're submitting to the way they would have you think in your mind with the sorcery that they have on the people, the spells that they put on people and deal with these religions to think you on point when you're off in any religion. No religion is keeping the moral laws, civil laws, dietary laws, ceremonial laws, and learning of the sacrificial laws. Who? Which one? Name them. He gave his laws to Jacob, his statutes of judgment to Israel. He had not dealt so with any nation. We just read that. As for judgment, they have not known them. Praise ye the Most High. He gave it to us. But here it is. right now, I can see why they would not have you to read this Apocrypha, why they would take it out. Because, I mean, clearly, it says Alexander, the Greek. Come on. You think about history, but one thing about us, you want to keep something from us, you put in a book. So we look opposite of what they say about us to be able to come up with what it is we need to know, because it's in here, in books, straight up. Many chapters, like we're reading right now and going to continue to read today. Say, yeah, verse 43, yeah, many also of the Israelites considered to his religion and sacrificed unto idols and profane the Sabbath. Profane means to be unholy, made the Sabbath unholy. For the king has sent letters by messengers unto Jerusalem. That's among us, the Israelites. That's how important we are and were and are now. And the cities of Judah, that they should follow the strange laws of the land. These are strange laws of the land that he set up, because Most High told us, learn not the way of the heathen. They did idolatry. That's why he profaned the Sabbath day. You see what they do? 325 AD, the Council of Nicaea, Constantine determined that, hey, we're gonna bring in the pagans. We're gonna bring the pagans in with their source of bringing forth religion, and people fell for it. Y'all fall for anything. They fall for anything, man. Let's do this. Y'all go for it. Do this. Y'all gonna do it. Whatever they tell you to do, you're gonna do it. That's why he said, I'll be back, I'll be one people. What you think we did? I told you in verse 11, in those days went there out of Israel wicked men who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us, just like you do today. Join right with them. But since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow. See? Thinking they're gonna lift you up. And what about the Most High? See how we can eliminate the Most High that fast? That's eliminating the Most High right there. This ain't nothing new. So when I see it, I look at it. We way back in the Greek Empire. You ain't even got to when Messiah came on the earth in the Roman Empire. We're way back in the Greek Empire, long before he came on the earth. You understand this? This is us. So when he came on the earth, you had this spirit that was already in us all this time, from the Greek Empire all the way to now. Come on, same old, same old. Look what it says. Verse 44, for the king has sent letters by messengers unto Jerusalem amongst us Israelites and the cities of Judah. That's what I tell you. You don't see those cities of anywhere else, mainly trying to destroy us, that they should follow the strange laws of the land, right? And forbid burnt offerings and sacrifice and drink offerings in the temple. And that they should profane the Sabbaths and festival days. That's why y'all getting ready for Christmas and Christian sanity mindset. They're getting ready for Thanksgiving. Then Christmas. No, matter of fact, they're getting ready for Halloween. I'm jumping ahead of myself. Let's get it right. Halloween. You get ready for Halloween. Tonight. Matter of fact, tonight. Halloween. You're gonna go to church on the first day of the week. Then play vampire, werewolves, witches, warlocks, whatever. You probably got Halloween in the church. Profane the Sabbaths. This is Sabbath day. Think about it. This is Sabbath day, and they doing the things they doing on the Most High's day. Trick or treat, trick or treat, dang. On the Sabbath day, profane the Sabbath and festival days, the days that the Most High told us in Leviticus 23rd chapter, his holy days, and pollute the sanctuary and holy people. That's us, children of Israel. That's why everything is geared toward us, whether you want to accept it or not, you see. And it says, set up altars and groves and chapels of idols. See, they knew how to do them idols, because that's what they were dealing with. Remember, all the gods of the nations are idols. Their power is idols. They set up altars and groves and chapels of idols and sacrifice swine's flesh, man, and unclean beasts. This is all to have us not be able to be close to the Most High. I got to understand this. Look, that they should also leave their children uncircumcised. Now, circumcision is, on the 8th day, we circumcise our boys' scrotum. And also circumcision means to understand this truth. You being circumcised by learning how to understand the truth, the Bible, and what it is that we're supposed to learn, and the laws of the Most High, and everything in between, and everything that's going forward, future prophecies, all that. That's the truth, you see? And when you take that away, most people, that's why I say Christian insanity people, because they don't know what this Bible is really talking about. They don't know history. Like I asked them, what does that mean? What would they say? If they haven't been taught by us, they wouldn't know. They'd probably look at it like you look on TV, probably be a leopard with four, like I say, four wings of a dang on bird, an eagle or something on their back and all that, man. It's nonsense. But it's not talking about that. And I say, if you want everybody to get this, why you got to break it down from what Daniel's saying, that you don't understand what it's saying if you just read what he's saying, if you don't know history. In our story, we're reading about our story right now. And it says, verse 48, that they should also leave their children uncircumcised and make their souls abominable with all manner of uncleanness and profanation. So a matter of uncleanness, things that are against the laws of the Most High. You see? And profanation, that means unholiness. Everything that's unholy concerning what the Most High say, do this, they said, don't do it, do this. Opposite of what the Most High telling us to do. To the end, listen, to the end, like it is now, they might what? Forget the law. I'm going to read it again. To the end, they're doing all these things to the end that they might forget the law. And Most High said, we're not even supposed to touch a dead pig carcass. But they sacrifice a gnat. Can you imagine the smell in there? They got pigs coming in. They cutting up pigs and sacrificing on them. Can you just imagine the smell in there? They got all the guts of the nasty pig to make it the profane, to make it unholy. To the end, they might forget the law. The they is the Israelites. We the Israelites might forget the law and change all the ordinances. See? Change everything around to these religions that you see now. And whoso would not do according to the commandment of the king, he said he should die. You hear that? And whosoever should not do according to the manner, the commandment of the king, he said, this wicked Antiochus Epiphanes said he should die. He said he should die. That's serious right there. Let me show you what else they did. Go to Second Maccabees, the 6th chapter. And we can start at verse 1. Not long after this, the king, still King Antiochus Epiphanes, sent an old man of Athens to compel the Jews to depart from the laws of their fathers and not to live after the laws of the Most High. Can't get no clearer than this, y'all. What it's going to take to wake us up to realize the things that they would do. Like I'm telling you, they put L-O-R-D in the Bible, so you calling them their God, B-A-A-L. Come on, I can't show it enough, man. You see what they said right here. Making me something different. It says, not long after this, the king, this same wicked king Antiochus Epiphanes, sent an old man of Athens to compel the Jews to depart from the laws of their fathers, the moral laws, the civil laws, the dietary laws, the ceremonial laws, and the sacrificial laws. We have 5 sets of laws here. And not to live after the laws of the Most High. So what you think they won't do? If they paint themselves and say they are the Most High, what is it that you think they won't do? Y'all got to help me on this one. If they say they the Most High, I can show you. If y'all don't believe me, let me pull out my Bible. A lot of times you got to, take a picture of 1,000 words. See what it says? Holy Bible, Holy Bible. They got 2 social medias going here. It says the Holy Bible. The first picture that it says is in the beginning, God created heaven and earth, right? Who is it? Who is it? You tell me. Help me out. You tell me who is it. Huh? Who that look like? Bing! Somebody left. Ooh. Bing! Somebody left. I love it. But look, now this is what they did. So now I'm just telling the truth. Now say a picture worth 1,000 words, right? I mean, you can't deny this. Can't deny it, man. Look, it says, and not to live after the laws of the Most High, the laws of our fathers, forefathers, and not to live after the laws of the Most High. You got to understand it. Get Ezekiel 39:23. This is what's going on. We got to lay it all out for you because, you know, some of us are still looking and trying to do the best we can to please the Most High. Ezekiel 39:23. And see, it's okay when we talk about ourselves, you know, how wicked we are, this, that, and third, whatever, Most High gonna do this, that. Nobody have no problem with that. But when you start talking about massa, oh yeah, we got, even us, we got a problem with that. And it's just the truth. You know, in other words, you can't bring up the truth. Bing, people leaving. Bing, they don't want to hear that. It's probably hurting their feelings. Ezekiel 39:23. It says, and the heathen, the ones we want to be like, shall know that the house of Israel went into captivity. Why? For their iniquity. So they know we went into captivity for our iniquity. What do you think they're going to show you the right way? They're going to show you how to be righteous in front of the Most High. What's the whole objective from them coming into power? The whole objective was what? To have us to do what? Lead the laws of the Most High. Lead the laws of our forefather, which is the laws of the Most High that he wrote with his finger. This is what it is. And the heathen shall know, this is Ezekiel 39:23. And the heathen shall know that the house of Israel went into captivity for their iniquity, because they trespassed against me. Therefore hid I my face from them and gave them into the hand of their enemies. Not friends, enemies. So fell they all by the sword. See? According to their uncleanness and according to their transgressions have I done unto them, and hid my face from them. Who knows this? The heathen. These nations know this. So what you say? They're going to show you the right way. That's why they have a problem with us coming back with the real, unadulterated truth. It's just, and they got to learn from us, or the Most High said they're going to perish. You're going to pluck them up and kill them. That's Jeremiah 12:17, straight up. So we just telling the truth. I mean, 2 Maccabees 6:2. And to pollute also the temple in Jerusalem, and to call it the temple of this idol. And that in Gerizim of that idol, you can read it, as they did desire that dwelt in the place, right? To put those idols up. The coming in of this mischief was sore and grievous to the people that still was wanting to do the right thing according to please the Most High and keeping his law, statutes, commandments. It was grievous to us. This is our story, you know? This is what it says. For the temple was filled with riot. Remember, there was sacrificing swine's flesh and all that stuff. Unclean beasts in there. The temple was filled with riot and revelings by the Gentiles, these other nations, especially the Greeks, because they're in power, right? Who dallied with harlots, that's prostitutes, and had to do with women within the circuit of the holy places, having sex in the temple. They were selling their bodies in the temple for money, having sex in the temple. And besides that, brought in things that were not lawful. See, the heathen only one kept it for iniquity. So what you say? They're going to show you how to do things that's unlawful and tell you it's okay. Because they know ain't no promise of mercy to them. You don't know, but they know that. Look, let me show you. Superpower of earth, Edom. That's who it is. What does the Bible say concerning them? That this is from Zondervan Compact Bible Dictionary. We're going to look up at Edom. That's who Antiochus Epiphanes is. He's an Edomite of the Seleucid dynasty. It says Edom figures prominently in the prophetic scriptures as the scene of great future judgments. See notably Isaiah 34, 5, 6, Isaiah 63, 1 down. She is the only neighbor of the Israelites who was not given any promise of mercy from the Most High. So you can read it yourself. That's what they know. I didn't write it. You didn't write it. We didn't write it. But it's right there. It's right there. You see, so that's why I say we have to know these things so that when anything comes our way, we can put what it is that they have said. We didn't write that. We have nothing to do with it. But that's what they know. Elite knows that. And mercy is what? Not getting something that you do deserve to get. So let's go back to 2 Maccabees, the 6th chapter, verse 4 again. For the temple was filled with riot and reveling by the Gentiles, who dallied with harlots, that's prostitutes, and had to do with women within the circuit of the holy places. They were selling their bodies as prostitutes in the church, in the temple. And besides that, brought in things that were not lawful. Listen, verse 5. The altar also was filled with profane, unholy things, which the law forbiddeth, right? And we keep hearing profane. So let's look at how the Most High looked at Edom, or the Edomites, pertaining to profane. We keep hearing that word. You know, heard it a few times, which means unholy. It means unholy. So when you look at Hebrews 12 and 16, it says, lest be any fornicator or profane person, profane meaning unholy, as Esau. Going all the way back to Genesis 25:25, who for one morsel of meat sold his birthright. You see? He sold his birthright for some red meat. Clear indication who they are. Red meat. So now, here we are in 2 Maccabees 6 and 6. Let's, you see, verse 5 said, the altar also was filled with profane things. Any profane person as Esau. Unholy, it's saying unholy. The altar was also filled with unholy things, which is profane things, unholy things, which the law forbiddeth. So what the law said you can do, they did opposite of. What the law said you couldn't do, they did. You see? Neither was it lawful for a man to keep Sabbath days or ancient feasts, or to profess himself at all to be a Jew. That's why you see Corinthians, Philippians, Thessalonians, and Romans, and the chapters in the New Testament. Those are Israelites that are scattered among those lands, calling themselves by the lands that they lived in, instead of by their ancestors or their father, who are Israelites. You know, they will call themselves by the lands because look, this is the Greek Empire. So by the time you get to Paul's writing, you're in the Roman Empire. They still a superpower of earth. This is what they are ordained. Look, neither was it, verse 6, neither was it lawful for a man to keep Sabbath days or ancient feasts or to profess himself at all to be a Jew. And if he did, what was the judgment? Verse 9, and whoso would not conform themselves to the manners of the Gentiles, these Edomites, that was the superpower of earth, the Greek Empire, should be put to death. You hear that? I'll read it again. And whoso would not conform themselves to the manners of the Gentiles, keep this in mind, y'all, should be put to death. Then might a man have seen the great present misery. Then might a man seen the present misery that was upon us, man. Because some of us chose death rather than to deal with following the way of the heathen and doing the things that they were doing. Now, you see how that is? That's why I said when you go to Daniel's, by the time you get to Daniel, so you got to know Daniel's from the first chapter to the 12th chapter. You got to know something about history, else you're not going to understand what he's talking about. Now let's go back to Revelations 13, because y'all could have went to one, but it's so much that entail in that. I don't think everybody need to be able to read. If most I want everybody to know all this, he would have put it plain so you can understand it. This ain't for everybody. So now, Revelation 13:2, and the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power and his seat and great authority. You see that? So now, when you look at the beast, is an Edomite nation. Now, the leper, like I said, it's the Greek Empire, but it's actually, as we read, Alexander the Greek coming to power. Because remember, he used to wear a leper hat. I mean, it's clear. Mind you, this is after long. This is prophecy of going in the past of the Greek Empire. You see what I'm saying? So this is known. It's a known fact. We just went in the past before the Roman Empire. This is where we at now. In the Roman Empire. In Revelation, we're in approximately 90 to 96 AD. This is when Revelation came about. The Bible actually stopped at 65 AD when we started fighting, the Romans and all those who were joined with them, from 65 to 70 AD. So the Bible actually stops at 65 AD, and Mashiach Rashad sent his angel to bring forth the books of Revelation on the island of Patmos, where John, was. They had put him out there to die. All the rest of apostles, they crucified, but he sent him out there to die on the island of Patmos. Okay, so we identified the leper being Alexander the Greek, and you could go to Daniel's 8:21, and it's clear. Daniel 8:21, the rough goat is the king of Grecia, which is the Greek Empire. The rough goat is the king of Grecia, and the great horn that is between his eyes is the first king, what we read about in First Maccabees 1:1, Alexander the Greek. Okay, so I mean, but if you don't know history, what does that mean to you? You wouldn't even know what it's talking about. That's why we went to the Maccabees, the Apocrypha they took out of the Bible to show you it was clear. Anybody not understand that? Reading it, you can understand it. It's clear. So now, the bear represent the Russians. Present day, that's their symbol, the Russians. Bear, the mouth of a lion, that's speaking proudly and blasphemy. The lion, that's Great Britain. And the dragon in the scripture is the spiritual demon, Satan. And remember it said the dragon gave him his power and his seat and great authority, right? So let's look at this. Go to Luke. Let's try Luke, the 4th chapter. And Matthew, the 4th chapter, it's the same story. Luke and Matthew, the 4th chapter, gives you the same story. So we're going to look at Luke, the 4th chapter, and verse 5. Now, this is when the Mashiach was fasting for 40 days and 40 nights, and the devil tempted him those 40 days and 40 nights, right? So look at verse 5. Look at verse 5. Luke 4:5. And the devil, taking him up into a high mountain, showed unto him, this is Mashiach that was shy, all the kingdoms of the world in a moment of time. So he took him up in a high mountain and showed him all the kingdoms of the world in a moment of time, right? And the devil said unto him, all this power, listen to this closely, all this power would I give thee, and the glory of them, for that is delivered unto me. And to whomsoever I will, I give it. But there's a condition. If thou therefore wilt worship me, all shall be thine. You see? He said, you worship him, he said, all shall be yours. If thou therefore wilt worship me, all shall be thine. And Elisha would say, answered and said unto him, get thee behind me, Satan, for it is written, thou shalt worship the Most High, thy power, your power, and him only shalt thou serve. So where's it written at, preachers? Since y'all say y'all not dealing with the law, where's it written at, preachers? Huh? Talk to me. Because he rebuking him by the law. So anyone that's telling you that under the law, you can't rebuke the devil. He can't deal with the law. That's what we rebuked him with, the law. Every single time. When you look at this, every single time he rebuked him by the law. Deuteronomy 6:13 and Deuteronomy 10:20. Deuteronomy 6:13, this is why he rebuked the devil. See, these are spiritual things, like I say, that you have to read the Bible to find out what works and what don't work. Deuteronomy 6:13. Thou shalt fear the Most High, thy power, your power, and serve him, and shall swear by his name. Deuteronomy 10:20. This is what he went to. The law. Thou shalt fear the Most High, thy power. Him shalt thou serve, and to him shalt thou cleave and swear by his name. That's what he went to, the law. Understand those sentences. You see? And so, the reason why I'm here is to showing you that verse 7 of Luke, the 4th chapter, what does it say? If thou therefore wilt worship me, all shall be thine. He showed him all the kingdoms, including the kingdoms that we're in right now. And he said, all could be thine if you worship me. So what do you think they're doing? They're worshiping the devil. You know? So now that you understand that this beast is a so-called white man, the Edomite nation, Edomite rulers. That's who this beast is he's talking about. Now, Job 9:24 says the earth is given to the hand of the wicked. He who is the wicked covered the faces of the judges thereof. If not, aware who is he? So now, you know, when you look at how it said the dragon gave him his power, right? Because he worshiped the dragon. Now we got to look at Revelation 12 and 3 concerning the dragon. Revelation 12 and 3. And there appeared another wonder in heaven, right on the earth. And behold, a great red dragon. So the dragon is red, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and 7 crowns upon his heads. So now, letting you know this red dragon, it has 7 heads, which are the Greeks, the Romans, the Spanish, the French, the Germans, the Russian, the British. The Greeks, the Romans, the Spanish, the French, the Germans, the Russian, the British. That's how they came in the second order. You know, America came out of Britain. So the Bible is real, dog. That's them 7 heads. And the 10 horns is the European Economic Community, the EEC, or the European Community, or NATO today. You know, that support those 7 heads. So verse 9 says, Revelation 12 and 9 says, and the great dragon that's red was cast out. That old serpent, so the old serpent's red, called the devil, so the devil's red. They even show you devil's red. Don't he come out of the ground with a red suit on, with a red pitchfork? But that's not real. But he is red. It's just, you know, you don't really understand the significance of how they hide everything in disguise. You don't see me, people, right? So, and the great dragon, which is red, we just read that in verse 3, right? And there appeared another wonder in heaven. Behold, a great red dragon. So the dragon is red, was cast out. That old serpent, so the serpent is red, clothed and called the devil. So the devil is red, and Satan had to be red, which deceiveth the whole world. Hear that? Which deceiveth the whole world. Which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him, right? So y'all think he was cast out on the earth, he doing what he wanted to do? No. This is something different, y'all. Look at Revelation 18 and 23. This is what they deceived the whole world, right? How did they deceive the whole world? The last sentence tells you. For by thy sorceries, by their witchcrafts, were all nations deceived. So they got witchcraft on this earth, spells they put the people in that they ain't really get out of. You know, that's why it's so hard to get our people to realize the truth and come out of, darkness, ignorance, not knowing, being fools, man. So let's read verse 9 again. Revelation 12 and 9. And the great dragon, which is red, and we know from verse 3, was cast out. That old serpent, see, this is giving you the analysis of the dragon, the serpent, called the devil. The devil is red, serpent's red, the dragon's red, and Satan red, which deceiveth the whole world, right? He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. So now, let's go back to Genesis 25, and we're going to start at verse 19. Genesis 25 and 19. Now that we know that the dragon's red, the serpent's red, the devil's red, and Satan's red, let's go back to Genesis 25 and 19. It said, and these are the generations of Isaac, Abraham's son. Abraham begot Isaac, and Isaac was 40 years old when he took Rebekah to wife, the daughter of Bethuel the Syrian, of Padanaram, the sister of Laban the Syrian. So Rebekah was a Syrian. That's very important. It says, and Isaac entreated the Most High for his wife, Rebekah, because she was barren. She could not, get pregnant. She could not conceive children. And the Most High was entreated of him, and Rebekah, his wife, conceived. She got pregnant. And the children struggled together within her, and she said, if it be so, why am I thus? Why are these children fighting inside my womb? And she went to inquire of the Most High. And the Most High said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. And the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger. So he's told her, she went to the seer, which is a name before they came up with the prophets. And the Most High told her 2 nations, not 2 twins. He said 2 nations, because all men didn't create nations. He said 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. We're not the same. You're going to see. And the one people shall be stronger than the other people. So one people going to be stronger than the other people. And the elder, the first baby to come out, shall serve the younger. The first baby to come out going to be a servant to the younger. And when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb. And the first came out red. There's that color again. What color is the dragon? Red. What color is the serpent? Red. What color is the devil? Red. What color is Satan? Red. What color? The first came out red all over, like a hairy garment, real hairy. And they called his name Esau. So Esau is what? Red, just like the dragon, just like the serpent, just like the devil, just like Satan. Here go red again. And the first, that's what I say, if the Most High wanted everybody to know this, then you would just read it. It would just tell you point blank. You would understand it. He don't want everybody to get this. And the first came out red, Genesis 25:25. And the first came out red all over like a hairy garment, real hairy. And they called his name Esau. And after that came his brother out. Let's see if it described his brother. And his hand took hold on Esau's heel. They were fighting in the womb, remember? So he had a hold to his heel and him coming out of the womb. And his name was called Jacob. And Isaac was 80 years old when she bare them. You notice he didn't describe how Jacob looked because he was normal. He had pigment and melanin. That's just, just the way it is. We just deal with the truth. Take it or leave it. That's what we got to deal with. Don't we? We got to eat it. We got to eat a whole lot of things. So now, going back to Revelations, the 13th chapter. And in verse 3. Revelation 13:3. And I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed. And all the world wondered after the beast. Say, call him a beast. Remember we read in Psalms, I was foolish, I was ignorant, I was as a beast. So beast are men. That's what it's talking about. When we talk about this beast is representing the Edomite nation or the Edomite man, point blank. So when you get this head that was wounded, let's talk about the Roman Empire, Esau's empire. Because when they were wounded, meaning they were taken out of power. The red nation overthrown by a Hebrew Israelite man by the name of Septimius Severus. But remember this clearly. Remember, Satan showed Amashiach all the kingdoms of the world in a moment of time that were even to this time to the end. He showed them everything, all the kingdoms. And he said, all could be thine if you do what? Bow down and what? Worship me. So even though Septimius Severus, an Israelite, took down the Roman Empire in approximately 193 AD, he was still wicked. He wasn't like where we would be and being in this truth. He wasn't there. You understand? He wasn't there. He was against us. Just like you have these pork chop eating preachers, you have, if put it like this, if someone would take over right now, America, the superpower of the earth, and they're not an Israelite, but they dealing with whatever they're dealing with from being trained by the heathen, just no different than what we just read in First Maccabees. Remember, they made a covenant with the heathen. This is what we have. You have the same type of spirit, or even worse, because most I say we surpass the ways of the wicked. You know what I mean? So here we are. He took them down in 93 AD and ran them into the Caucasus Mountains. And they were sealed in there, 193 AD, coming out here and there, whatever, but it was ran back up in there. I had something pertaining to somebody had stole my book. It was a book that Elijah Muhammad had written. It was called The Making of the White Man. And they talked about how they were, this time period that we're talking about, when Septimius Severus ran them into the Caucasus Mountains. Let's see if I can find it. It was a great, great book, but somebody stole it. Nevertheless, I'll bring it out one day whenever I find it. But nevertheless, they were in the Caucasus Mountains. That's why they call themselves Caucasian. That's between the Black and Caspian Sea in South Georgia, Russia. And they were sealed in there. That's why it says in Revelation 13, and I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, you see. And his deadly wound was healed. And it came out in between 1453 and 1492, which became the Renaissance period, the rebirth of the Edomite nation. And all the world wondered after the beast, after them, as it is today. People want to be like them. They want to be like them. Even our people, they want to be like them. They want to be like us. They want to be us, but they want to be like us. We the ones, the salt of the earth. We the flavor of the earth. This is what you're looking at. So Septimius Severus took them down. That's when they were wounded and ran them into the Caucasus Mountains. They came out as the Ottoman Turks in approximately 1453, because in between there you had the holy wars between the Arabs and us fighting. They just sitting back, kick back, waiting to see what's up. The most because prophecy had to happen. Prophecy had to happen, point blank. Say the wounded head, the white man came back into power in 1453 AD as the Ottoman Turks by defeating and destroying Constantinople. That was the last battle that they had to fight in Constantinople, which created the Renaissance period. Remember that movie, Othello? It's a movie about the Moors, because a lot of the Moors were Israelites ruling Spain and so forth. That was us. You see? A lot of times, we kind of dress the same we were. A lot of the Moors that I know, they admit that they are Israelites, in my time. Look at Revelations 17 and 8. The beast that thou sawest was and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit and go into perdition, and they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world. Remember we read, Edom figures prominently in the prophetic scripture as a scene of great future judgment. She's the only neighbor of the Israelites who was not given any promise of mercy from the Most High. In the Zondervan Compact Bible Dictionary, hear what it says. Whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, when they behold the beast that was, remember there was the Romans, they were in power, and it's not, they were ran into the Caucasus Mountains, and yet is. It came out as a Renaissance period until now, ruling. See that? So, this is what we're looking at. All nations marvel after them. Go back to Revelation 13:3. And I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed. Wounded to death when he fell in 193 AD and was ran into the Caucasus Mountains between the Black Sea and the Caspian Sea in South Georgia, Russia. You heard of the fall of the Roman Empire? That's what happened. They ran into the Caucasus Mountains. That's why they call themselves Caucasian. And it says, and his deadly wound was healed. That's when he came out in 1453 as the Ottoman Turks and started to take down we that was ruling the Byzantine Empire. But we weren't ruling in righteousness, because you look at a lot of things happen, like this dang on day that we dealing with now, Halloween. It happened during the time we was ruling in the Byzantine Empire, dragging the body around and putting, you got to bring somebody out to sacrifice them on this wicked day. And y'all heard bobbing for apples? Yeah, had a pot full of oil or whatever. They got to stick their head down there and get the apple and pull it up. They put it down. They throw the apple in there. They got to stick their head down real quick and get the apple. They come up. They live. They're cool. And most of them die. I mean, come on. That's what you say, bobbing for apples. They stick their head down in the water. That was boiling hot water. We was moving during that time that was created, man. That's why I say, man, we have a lot to learn. But people love the white. They love the white man. They love him. It is what it is. I mean, look at Malachi 1:1. Malachi 1:1. The book of Malachi. It's the last book of the Old Testament. The burden of the word of the Most High to Israel, we the Israelites, by Malachi the prophet, who is an Israelite. I have loved you, said the Most High. Yet ye say, wherein hast thou loved us? Was not Esau Jacob's brother? We just read about Jacob and Esau in Genesis 25:19 down to 26, right? He's saying we way in the Persian Media Empire. Still talking about what? Jacob and Esau. He said, I have loved you, verse 2 of Malachi, the first chapter. He said, I have loved you, said the Most High. Yet ye say, wherein hast thou loved us? He said, was not Esau Jacob's brother? Said the Most High, yet I love Jacob. He said, yet I love Jacob. He said, and I hated Esau and laid his mountains and his heritage waste for the dragons of the wilderness. You see? So where they come from? They come from the mountains. And what did the Most High give Esau? What land did he give him? He said, let his mountains waste for the dragons, right? Go to Genesis, the 36th chapter. That's why I say you get understanding through the precept. Verse 1. Genesis 36:1. Say, now these are the generations of Esau, who is Edom. Okay? Jump down to verse 8. It says, thus dwelt Esau in Mount, that's mountain. You say M-O-N, M-A-M-O-U-N-T. That's mountain Seir. Esau is Edom. Okay? So now he's letting you know that Esau was given the mountainous area of Seir. That's why it says, Malachi 1:3. And I hated Esau and laid his mountains. That mount, like I said, that mount, M-O-U-N-T, that stands for mountain. And laid his mountains and his heritage waste for the dragons of the wilderness. So he was given Mount Seir, and even Cain, when he was vexed with leprosy, which means he was like the palm of my hand, the palm of your hand, the bottom of your feet, all over. Nobody looked like that until Cain did what he did. Most I put that mark on him, and everybody look at him. You know how someone that they call today, we call it leprosy. In the Bible, Leviticus 13 chapter tell you about that. But they call it vitiligo, how they look. And whenever they start getting it, their skin start turning white like this, and they real dark, and they be light. They start getting light all over, and it's being places that you can really see it. You know, but they're clean leopards because they're white from the top of their head to the bottom of their feet. They're clean leopards. They're not, unless they have leprosy, then they're gonna really look really white. But and it'd be patched up, it'd be patched, it'd be really white compared to how they look as being different shades of red. And so when you look at all nations marveled after Esau, they do, I seen on matter of fact, I seen on Times, I think Times Magazine, Newsweek, I think it is. Get ready for their Christmas. They had Caesar Borgia picture on there. Caesar Borgia, all in the store. I'm like, wow, look at that. I took a picture of it. Everybody was probably looking at me. They probably figured, why am I taking a picture of white Jesus? But hey, you gotta have the proof, right? I mean, I'm not just talking out the side of my neck. I gotta have the proof. I have it. It's right there. They pushing it for Christmas. Still pushing that live, man. When Revelation 1:1 says, the revelation of a Mashiach Yahushua. Verse 14 says that he had a hair of wool. Verse 15 said his feet like a fine brass if it burned in a furnace. He was so dark, like he burned in a furnace. In brass, you burn it, it turned dark. Real dark. And not looking like this. This is a lie. It looked like this. Come on. That's a lie. These are lies that's been taught. See? I'm just telling the truth. Or making me something different. Everybody got their own way of bringing forth whatever they want to bring forth. But you better understand, man, we're in the times that's going to be saying a lot. Go to Revelations 13 again. Like I said, we got to be ready so you ain't got to get ready. Do you understand what it is? You should desire to know more. I should better read this down and y'all should better break it down. For real. But are you interested? what if my Shai come back and say, well, I want you to break this down for me. It's been in the earth for all this time. I've had the men of the Most High know this. You should know this. Do you care about knowing it? No. Well, and I say it all the time, say whatever. You don't really care. But yet still you're supposed to bring us into the kingdom and all the work that's been done to make sure that you know more than what you know. And you don't know it, shame on you. That's all I can say. Go to Revelation 13 and 14. Because something else is more important than you knowing what this Bible is talking about. You should know Revelation first chapter all the way to 22nd chapter, Daniel's first chapter to the 12th chapter, and Ezra, prophecies and so forth. All of that. We're near the end, y'all. We talking about the end of the world, and what y'all think? You just gonna come and just y'all done did enough? We ain't never did enough. We never did enough. I don't know, y'all. It's a different breed of Israelites to me right now. A lot of y'all, man. It's like, let's look at Revelations 13, start at verse 14. And to see them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast. See that? In the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth, that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword and did live. Now we know that wound that he had by a sword was when he taken out of power by Septimus Severus and the men that were with him. He was a Roman general, mind you. And think about it, he going out there fighting the wars for the Romans. He came back and looked up there and said, man, looked around, told his boys, man, let's take these suckers out. And took them out, ran them into Caucasus Mountains. So that's what you're looking at. So they said we got to make an image to the beast. Now, this is not originally Caesar Borgia. This picture, a lot of you probably don't know, was drawn by a Edomite man named Warner Salmon. He wanted making millions off the pictures. Now, when you go back in time, you'll see the ancient pictures of Caesar Borgia. That's what they painted the picture of. You see, to see the whole world through its technology, its miracles, like I just showed you, just how they did it. How did you see the whole world? Revelation 18 and 23, the last sentence says, for by thy sorceries were all nations deceived. See? By their sorceries. Just a moment, I gotta check something. Salakia, I was waiting on a package for a camp. It came. All praise to the Most High. That's what I'm talking about. Some of myself go with that. Okay. What else we at? Oh, we was in Revelation 18 and 23. It says, for by thy sorceries, that's witchcrafts, were all nations deceived. You see that? So by their sorceries were all nations deceived, witchcrafts and so forth. How they have people deceived. Got spells on people. And people don't even realize it. So telling you that they made this image this until this day on TBN, on TBN, they still had that picture up, and probably still had a picture up in some of y'all families' homes of this white man representing Hamashiach Yahushua. Sad to say, but it's real. He had to come on the earth and realize this is what they was going to do. Because look what it says in First Maccabees 3:48. And laid open the book of the law. First Maccabees 3:48. This in the Greek Empire, yo. Before Mashiach came on the earth, knowing they're going to do this. And laid open the book of the law, which is the Bible, wherein the heathen sought to paint the likeness of their images. Can't picture of 1,000 words, right? The heathen sought to paint the likeness of their images. There it is. And he knew this. Coming on earth, looking at them like y'all gonna try and y'all gonna paint yourself to be me. Think about it. That was you, and you done worked your whole life to have something to pass down to your children. And when you die, they say that you're another race, you're the Edomite race, and they are the ones that's going to receive everything, all the benefits that you want to pass down to them. How would you feel? You would have to feel some kind of way. That would bother me. I know it bothered me. Or they saying that you somebody else who you're not. That's what they did. Until this day, I just told you, I just seen a picture of Caesar Borgia, well, the picture that Warner Salmon drew, I'll say, on Time Magazine, Newsweek, one of them. I'll look to see which one it was. All I know, I seen it I looked down and I seen it, wow, and I took a picture of it. That's for this Christmas. That's for, this Christmas, It's sad, man, because he gave his life up for us, and it don't even seem to matter that much, except for people say, oh, he died for me, especially Christian sanity people. He died for me, long as his blood was red, he died for me. And they're a Gentile. Think about it. It's crazy. I've heard all kinds of sayings, man, So let's go back to Revelation 13. And it says, they made an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword and did live. Now that was, like I said, that was that image is how they, made that false depiction of a Mashiach Yahushua. Even what I just showed you in the Holy Bible, that they painted themselves to be the Most High too. They painted Caesar Borgia in that wound. It was wound and did live in the Renaissance period, the rebirth of the so-called white man coming back, the Edomite nation coming back into power, reemerging into power until now, in verse 15. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. Now, we knew the Jesuit priests, when they came over here, they killed many of the indigenous people that was here, man. And other Israelites, man, who would not accept his Christianity, that they call Christian, I don't even know how they said Christianity so much as Christian, I don't know. Anyway, wouldn't worship them in their Christianity. I got it out. It's so hard. I done said Christian Saturday so much I can't really even I can't even call it Christian Saturday. You see what y'all saying so much I can't even say it. What is it? Christianity. That's right, right? Christianity. Because it's crazy. I mean, I can't really look at it, for what it is that they have done, and knowing all this that I see that I've learned from the past, the present, the future, and then they say that's Christ-like. They're not Christ-like. They're not like a Mashiach. I would say they're the Mashiachim. Mashiach said, "If you love me, keep my commandments." They say you're not under the law. The commandments are the laws. In John 14:15. 1 John 5:3 says, "For this is the love of the Most High." In the New Testament, they're supposed to believe in that we keep His commandments. Commandments are not grievous. Supposed to keep the commandments of the Most High that He wrote with His finger. Anybody that want to deal with that, you ain't dealing with the Most High. You ain't dealing with the Mashiach Yahushua. You the devil that we reading about right here. So here we go. So you see, He gave life to the image, and it did speak to religious institutions, man. You know, don't they speak? And it through His movies, magazines, social media, internet. I just told you I took a picture of Caesar Borgia or whoever it was, the one that, like I said, Warner Salmon, and I think the 1940s drew a picture of the new Jesus Christ. But, it goes all the way back to 1492. Michelangelo drew that picture of his girlfriend, Caesar Borgia. They was lovers and all that. So all that's known. You can look at the series on Showtime. It's probably on YouTube. I think it's on YouTube. It's called The Borgias. Borgias. It's only 5 people in this. Oh, praise the Most High. It's right here. See that right there? That's the Borgias. The Borgias family. Borgias. Borgias. And they have a series on YouTube called The Borgias coming from Showtime. And they call them the first crime family. You see that? You hear that? This is what y'all have up in your church, and your mama got up in your house, in her house, all up in the church, and your grandmama's house. They call this the first crime family. There's only 5 people in this picture. That's Caesar Borgia right there. That's him right there. That's him right there. That's him right there. That's his father right here. That's his father right there. Where's father sitting? Rodrigo Borgia, Pope Alexander VI of Rome, right there. That's him right there. That's him right there, right there. That's his brother right here, right there, and right there. Here goes his mother right here. That's his mother standing up there looking at him, and that's his sister Lucretia sitting but right beside him. Supposed to be 10 men. But what they have in there? Come on, why ain't nobody bringing this out? I've been bringing this out since the 90s, man. Most guys showed me that. Certain things he just showed me that I'm bringing to the nation. Y'all should be dead on that, man. That's always guaranteed people are going to come around and look at it because they don't know that. I mean, I tell them, look at the picture. Nobody ever seen that there's only 5 people in that picture. Ever. Ever. The same faces. You can see the same images. That's what I say, man. I hope we really, get serious about what we're trying to do and getting up out of here. But you see, through its religious institutions, man, they gave life to that image. And it did speak through these religious organizations, man, institutions and so forth, If you didn't believe in the image, man, it was killing us. I remember I did a lesson. You can look on my YouTube page. It's called The Destruction of the West Indies. It's how they came over here in this Western hemisphere and they read the Bible, they turned their backs. I mean, I read the whole story. I read it in English, Spanish, Portuguese, and Patois. Because they said that they had an attitude about back here. These are TV shows. These are not VHS tapes. These are TV show tapes. That's what you play. What they use to play on TV. When they do a TV movie, whatever. That's what they use whenever they you have TV shows. Those are TV shows. We had a TV show for over 12 years. Shield of Wisdom and Fire in the Sky and Lion's Den. Yeah, They just, I mean, any way you look at it, they're not dealing with bringing forth the truth. They still have that picture where? TBN. You turn it on right now, I bet you they had that picture on, a picture of Caesar Borgia on the wall. But they was killing us. They turned up their backs to us. We the indigenous people of this land. And they read the Bible to us, Jesuit priests, so-called, and they killed many of us, who would not accept his Christ insanity. And I'm gonna keep saying that because it's not Chris, whatever. It's not Hamashiachim. They're not Hamashiachim. They're not showing you how to be Hamashiachim, being like him at all. Understand this. And understand this. Very important. Look at I got a lot I want to go over. I think I'm about to do a few segments of this lesson because let me go down from 15, Revelation 13 and 15. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And that's what they did. They came over with that sign, that picture of Caesar Borgia, and they said, this is who you got to worship. Until this day, why do you think it's brain polluted in our minds as a people? That we think that the Most High is white, so-called white, Edomite, and why Hamashiach that was shy is a so-called Edomite. We believe that more wholeheartedly than anybody else. And I asked him, do you think he was so-called white man now? They be saying no. So-called white people be saying that. But us, they did a job on us, I'm telling you. And it started with us hating ourselves so much. I'll tell you that. So now, when you look at verse 16, it says, well, I'm gonna get a little bit. I can go a little bit into it. Wisdom of Solomon, as far as this image and as far as Caesar Borgia, Wisdom of Solomon 14. Go to Wisdom of Solomon 14. This is a short version. If anybody want to get the whole breakdown, whatever, I can give it to you if you desire it. But since you don't, I'll just deal with bits and pieces here and there, wherever. Because I don't think the Most High want everybody to know these mysteries that's here within these scriptures. Though it will be clear when you read it, you will understand it. Point blank. Wouldn't you say? Wisdom of Solomon 14, that's what I say. It took a lot of studying to really look at this and, get a true understanding of what it's talking about. Now I'm gonna go to 15. Wisdom of Solomon 15 and 4. But you can mark down Wisdom of Solomon 14, verse 9 through 31. I just don't want to read all that. You can mark down Wisdom of Solomon 14, 9 through 31. I'm gonna go to verse 15, chapter 15. I'm gonna start at verse 4. It says, for neither did the mischievous invention of men deceive us, the Israelites, nor an image spotted with diverse colors, the painter's fruitless labor, the sight whereof entices fools to lust after it. And so they desire the form of a dead image that hath no breath, both they that make them, they that desire them, and they that worship them are lovers of evil things and are worthy to have such things to trust upon. See? So there it is. Thus say the Most High. Let's continue. Wisdom of Solomon, no. Revelation 13 and 16. And he causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. Right? So you're looking at The mark in his right hand, he's working to uphold, they're working to uphold the Edomites' kingdom, the air forces, the armed forces and so forth, the military, the politicians, supporting all of that. They're into that. The police, you know, everything that they have set up, they support that wholeheartedly. Any way you look at it, you know, look how Esau swear you in, or your right hand, raising your right hand up and pledge an oath that he tell you got to say before you step on the stand or whatever, you know. And your forehead is where your knowledge is. The knowledge come from your brain. Your lies is Christianity. I said it, Christianity. I haven't said it so long, right? I'll say crisp insanity, but crisp insanity because you won't be, if you don't come out of being insane, you're gonna be crispy, straight up, as the Bible says. Religion that's in your mind, our people are programmed, whatever religion they've been in, they don't know the Bible. You have them the Bible and say, okay, now we're gonna talk like this. What you hearing right here? I'll say, what is this talking about? And somebody that's a Christian, it's in the New Testament. Bet you they can't break it down. Because you got to go different places to be able to see what it's talking about. In the Old Testament, I mean, you'd have to see this. And you're going to see. There's philosophies, Colossians 2 and 8. Certain things that we've been programmed in our thinking wrong. Colossians 2 and 8. Beware lest any man spoil you through what? Philosophy and vain deceit. Get that? Philosophy and vain deceit. After the tradition of men. You hear that? Tradition of men. Remember, we took on the customs of the heathen after the rudiments of the world and not after Mashiach. When you really know him, they're not following him. They ain't dealing with what he dealt with. They're not dealing with what he dealt with. That's why I said, beware lest any man spoil you. You ever smelled something that's spoiled, is stinking, filthy, but nasty? Through philosophy. That's what they've done. And vain deceit. That's why Ecclesiasticus 3 and 24 in the Apocrypha says what? For many are deceived by their own vain opinion, worthless thinking, and an evil suspicion, that's the devil, have overthrown their judgment, make you make the wrong judgment. I want y'all to like the video and share and, hit the bell so you'll know whenever we're coming on so you can be able to look at our different lessons that we have. But don't let nobody spoil you through philosophy. That's what has happened to our people. And vain deceit, vain, like, remember they deceived all the nations through the sorcery, so they got spells on people, our family members, our friends, associates, so forth, and so on. That's caught up in these religions or traditions of men. Religions are traditions of men after the rudiments of the world. Something they set up, not according to the Bible at all. Psalm 137 and 5. Psalm 137 and 5. If I forget thee, O Jerusalem, let my right hand forget her cunning. If I do not remember thee, let my tongue cleave to the roof of my mouth. If I prefer not Jerusalem above my chief joy. Remember, O Most High, the children of Edom in the day of Jerusalem, who said, raise it, even to the foundation thereof. Now, we looked at what happened in the Greek Empire, right? What they did in the Greek Empire. Some of you just coming in, you might not have heard it. You can go back over the lesson and see what we went over before you got here. But welcome to and happy Shabbat. Shalom. So look at what they did in First Ezra 4:45. Now we're in the Babylonian Empire. This is what they did. First Ezra 4:45. It says, remember it said, remember, O Most High, the children of Edom in the day of Jerusalem, who said, raise it, even to the foundation thereof, right? So in First Ezra 4:45, it says, thou also have vowed to build up the temple which the Edomites burned when Judea was made desolate by the Chaldeans, Nebuchadnezzar, the Babylonians. So Ethiopians, he was the first ruler of the Ethiopians, the Babylonians. We went in captivity under them for 70 years, right? So he's crying out, before this happened, what's going to happen? Because wasn't nobody bad enough to put King David and this mighty man in captivity. He had everybody subjected to Israel. Solomon had 40 years of peace. David had war for 40 years. He was a mighty warrior. Solomon had peace for 40 years, you know? And Saul, there wasn't rule over Saul. He was our first king. That's 120 years that we had ruling. So it said, that's why he said, remember, O Most High, the children of Edom. That's our fraternal twin, evil, wicked brother that we read about in Genesis 25 and 26. Esau and Jacob. It says, remember, O Most High, the children of Edom in the day of Jerusalem, who said, raise it, even to the foundation thereof. What they do? First Ezra 4:45 said, thou also have vowed to build up the temple which the Edomites burned when Judea was made desolate by the Chaldeans. See, they burned down our temples. That's like, remember what we read. You can't never forget. It's all telling a story through the Spirit of the Most High. In Ezekiel 39:23, how they said, hey, they know we're in captivity for what? Our iniquity. So if they keep us away from the Most High as it is today, you know, all the abomination that they put into us, given to us through the food, you know, defiling us and so forth. They think that the Most High not going to deal with us, but the Most High, no. That's why you got to pray over everything, you know? Pray over everything. Ask the Most High to forgive you because you done did something that's wrong that you even know. You know, I just drank some water. I don't know what's in that water. You said we're going to drink poison to live. You don't know either. So we have to always repent. We always have to repent. Ask the Most High to forgive us because you don't know. You know, they know. Like I said, they know we're in captivity for our iniquity. What do you think? They think we're going to come out of our iniquity? By them showing us how to be right? No, they ain't showing us how to be right. I'm showing you how to be right. And we, the men of Israel, the hand of the Most High, showing you what's really important. That's why King David said, what? Remember, O Most High, the children of Edom in the day of Jerusalem, who said, raise it, even to the foundation thereof. So what they do, they burned down our temple, that we couldn't do what? Go in the temple and worship the Most High. We couldn't go in the temple and sacrifice for the atonement of our sins, so therefore we still in iniquity. Do you get it? Come on. It said, oh, daughter of Babylon. See, daughter of Babylon, that's Edom in this day, who ought to be destroyed. Happy shall it be that rewarded thee as thou hast served us. He said, happy shall it be that taketh and dasheth thy little ones against the stones. Because that's what they did to us. They cast our little ones to the stone. Right in front of our faces. They had us on gallows, burning. I got pictures of it. Anybody desire to see it, I mean, you know, in that book, The Destruction of the West Indies by Bartholomew de las Casas is what they did. That's why you see in First Maccabees 4:45, excuse me, you get understanding to the precepts. Thou also hast vowed to build up the temple which the Edomites burned when Judea was made desolate by the Chaldeans. Straight up, this is what they did. This is what they did. That's why when you look at you take on that knowledge if you want to. Mosiah said this. Ezekiel 9:4. Because we know that our people they're gonna reject the truth because he said in 2 Ezra 9:22, he said, let the multitude perish then, which was born in vain. He said, let my grape, that's a grape, and my plant be kept. For with great labor have I made it perfect. So he's not desiring everybody. He don't need everybody. If he told Moses he'd make a nation out of him, he came back and told John, I'll raise up some stones to be my people. We better be praising the Most High. I'll tell you all that. And stop saying LOYD and APTTMH and TMH initials for him. You just typed out everything that you want to say, and y'all saying that. It's like, here I am right here, Ezekiel 9:4. Go to Ezekiel 9 chapter, the 4th verse. The Most High said unto him, go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem. That's where we are as the Israelites. Ezekiel 9:4. Through the midst of Jerusalem, where we are as a people, scattered among all these nations, and set a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and that cry for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof. And that's real. When you know that something means something and you continue to do it, and you just, what's your excuse? What you gonna say to the Most High when you say, you was told? You know, like I just showed y'all that Last Supper picture. You know, he showed me the breakdown on Hamashiach. We just said Yahweh Shai. He gave me the scriptures for the Hamashiach. That was important because you got people that's named JESUS or Yahweh Shai. Even in the Bible, there's more than one Yahweh Shai, but there's only one Hamashiach. You know? That's why I say, all the abominations that be done, looking at our people, man, they in all these different religions, and you can't tell them nothing. And you open up the Bible, they don't want to hear you. They don't want to hear what you got to say. You know, you've been doing this 30-something years, and you think that you don't know nothing. People like, whenever the book is closed, like, you stupid. Yet still, they sit there, if you allow me to speak, they see that I know a little bit of something, more so than what they know. And then you hand them the Bible and say, what is this talking about? They don't know. But yet still, they call themselves Christians. But they deal with insanity because they don't know what this Bible is talking about. Come on, man. That's where y'all got to want to know more. You got a desire to want to know more. Your desire will show that you really care about what it is that you need to know to make it to the kingdom. He don't have us knowing all this and just like, y'all just sit back, well, whatever, I got enough. You got enough that you know to make it to the kingdom. That when he said, what does this mean? What does this mean? What does this mean? You're going to be able to tell him or have some means to be able to break it down. No matter what, I don't remember everything. I have notes to be able to, look at what I need to deal with. But I know I can bring it out. All praise to the Most High, boss. Show myself, I was saying, you should have that desire. That's why I say, hey, I'm crying out because of the fact that people don't really love him enough. To me, they say his name, all that, but they don't really love him. Some people just going through formality, memorizing something like you did in school, just regurgitating whatever you hear somebody say, like crisp insanity people do doing. Ain't no spirit in him, really the spirit of really loving him. I don't feel it. See all the abomination, cry for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof, crying out for all the abominations that's being done. Started with the Most High. He ain't even thought about it. They talking about some militia, some hurricane militia. Little boy, La Nina, little girl, La Nina, El Nina, La Nina. Mother Nature. That's him. You see how fast these floods are going right now? I've never seen floods go that fast like that. Have you? Not in my time. It's going to get worse and worse, y'all. He going to make us have to come together. But we're crying out for all the abominations that be done on people. It don't matter. Yeah, it don't matter. We're going to see how it don't matter. He's going to make you have to come together to come back to this truth, or you're going to perish, period. And to the others, he said, in mind hearing, those that ain't crying out, those that don't care about the Most High enough. They ain't talking about praise the Most High. Listen for that. Send me some video where you hear praise the Most High. Praise the Most High. Praise ye the Most High. Send me some video where you hear that. And to the others, he said, in mind hearing, go ye after him through the city and smite. That means kill. Let not your eyes spare, neither have ye pity. He says, slay utterly, old and young. This gonna happen, y'all. Both maids and little children, wicked little children, all the way down to wicked little children and women. But come not near any man upon whom is the mark. This is the right mark you're supposed to have. And begin at my sanctuary. Begin with us, we the Israelites. Then they began in the ancient men, which were before the house, man. We'll start with the ancient ones that know that they should be looking at how we're supposed to be teaching the younger ones to come out of this madness, to love the Most High and take praise the Most High, bless the Most High. I mean, come on. What y'all reading in the Bible? You can't praise him enough. He said, when you praise him with all your might. But what y'all do? Just going through formality. I digress. Revelation 7. I'm just sincere. That's all. Y'all have to bear with me. I just know that it's a lot that's been shown to me, and I was like, I know that I don't want to see nobody perish. I love my people. Everybody don't seem to, I don't know, they have their own way of how. I just listen. And listen is an art of responsibility. And it's very important. Look at Revelation, the 7th chapter, the 2nd verse. It's going to be terrible, y'all. There's going to be a lot of deaths. That get our attention. Revelation 7:2. Revelation 7th chapter, 2nd verse. And I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living power. And he cried with a loud voice to the 4 angels. You read verse 1. And after these things, I saw 4 angels standing on the 4 corners of the earth. So that's an angel standing on the north, south, east, and west, holding the 4 winds of the earth. That's the destruction. They hold the destruction back from the earth, that the wind should not blow on the earth, that destruction, nuclear power, that's the only thing we can think of as the most, powerful power that we know. But the angels are holding back the wind that the Most High have, that is more powerful than nuclear destruction, should not blow on the earth, nor on the sea, nor on any tree. And I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living power. And he cried with a loud voice to the 4 angels to whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea. So this is Mashiach Shai telling the 4 angels that's holding back the destruction on this earth, saying, hurt not the earth. Don't hurt the earth, neither the sea, nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our power in their foreheads and their minds. You see? So the destruction that's going to happen is going to happen until, and I heard the number of them which were sealed. And there were sealed 144,000 of all the tribes of the children of Israel, not of any other nation. You see that? 144,000 of all the tribes of the children of Israel. And from 5 down through 8, it tells you these 12 tribes. 12,000 from each of the tribes of the children of Israel, as we just read. So if you're not of the children of Israel, you're not of the 144,000. Judah, Benjamin, Levi, Simeon, Zebulun, Ephraim, Manasseh, Gad, Reuben, Naphtali, Asher, and Issachar. Now, here we go with crisp insanity people that in these religions institution, they go to verse 9 and they think they bringing something out. They bring themselves in there as Gentiles, right? But I'm going to squash that right quick. Like I said, everything, you know, the order of everything. Here it is, verse 9. And this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude. Hear that? A great multitude, which no man could number, of all nations and kindreds and people and tongues. That's different languages, still before the throne and before the Lamb, clothed with white robes and palms in their hands. Okay. And cried with a loud voice, saying, salvation, which is power from authority, to our power, which sitteth upon the throne, and unto the Lamb. So ours a personal possessive pronoun showing ownership. And the Most High said in Exodus 3:15, he's the power of who? Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And Jacob was the forefather of the 12 tribes of Israel. Acts 3:13. The power of our fathers, the power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the power of our fathers. You see, that's the Most High's name forever and memorial to all generations. He's our power. That's what I say, our power. What did it say? Everybody's power. He's not everybody's power. He's only the power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He said that's his name forever and a memorial to all generations. So now let's go up to verse 9. It's after this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude, which no man could number, of all nations and kindreds and people and tongues. So it sounds like it's talking about all the people of the world, right? But is it? Let's find out. Because we're going to look at the first one, clear it up piece by piece. After this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude. Let's look at 2nd Ezra 3:36. 2nd Ezra 3:36. Let's see what this says. That's not what I want. Hold up. 3:16, Salakia. 2nd Ezra 3:16. Okay, it says, and unto him, to Abraham, thou gavest Isaac. Remember, Abraham had a son named Isaac, and Isaac had Jacob. Listen, and unto him thou gavest Isaac, and unto Isaac also thou gavest Jacob and Esau. Remember, we read about Jacob and Esau in Genesis 25th chapter, 25 and 26 in this lesson, right? And unto him, that's Abraham, thou gavest Isaac. Abraham had Isaac. And unto Isaac also thou gavest Jacob and Esau. As for Jacob, thou didst choose him to thee. So the Most High chose Jacob and put Esau by. And so Jacob became a great multitude. You see that? Jacob became a great multitude. Can't get no clearer than that. Remember, it said in Revelation 7:9, we just bringing clarity to what it's talking about. After this, I beheld, and lo, a great multitude, which no man could number, right? Okay, we're going to deal with that, which no man could number. A great multitude. Jacob became a great multitude. It's talking about Jacob. So now, look at, let me check something out here. Jacob became a great multitude. Look at, go to Genesis. Okay, look at Genesis 28:3. Well, we can start at once so you know who it's talking about. It says, and Isaac called Jacob and blessed him and charged him and said unto him, thou shalt not take a wife of the daughter of Canaan. See, don't take none of them Canaanites to be your wife. Arise, go to Padamaram, to the house of Bethuel, thy mother's father, and take thee a wife from thence of the daughters of Laban, thy mother's brother. That was his first cousin. If his mother's brother, Laban, his girls were Jacob's first cousin, right? Listen what he said, verse 3. And the Most High Almighty bless thee and make thee fruitful and multiply thee, that thou mayest be a multitude of people. Come on. And the Most High Almighty bless thee and make thee fruitful and multiply thee, that thou mayest be a multitude of people, right? So now, when you see in Revelation 7 and 9, and after this I beheld and lo, a great multitude. So we're looking at Jacob being a great multitude, which no man could number, right? So now we're going to look at Hosea 1 and 10. Hosea 1 and 10. Hosea 1 and 10. Yet the number of the children of Israel shall be as the sand of the sea. You ever picked up some sand and dropped the sand out? That's a lot of people. So it's going to be as the sand of the sea, which cannot be measured nor numbered. That's that great multitude, y'all. And it shall come to pass that in the place where it was said unto them, ye are not my people, like right here in America, we taught that we're Gentiles, grafted in, don't know who you've been grafted in among. You are not my people. There, right here in America, it shall be said unto them, ye are the sons of the living power. Who we are, we the sons of the Most High. But you see what it says? Which cannot be measured nor numbered. Yet the number of the children of Israel shall be as the sand of the sea, which cannot be measured nor numbered. That's that great multitude, which cannot be measured nor numbered. And it says, going back to Revelation 7 and 9, after this I beheld and lo, a great multitude. Jacob became a great multitude. Said we so numerable, we like the sand of the sea of all nations, right? See, they go with that of all nations, or see of all nations, and kindreds and people, right? And tongues still before the throne and before the Lamb, clothed with white robes and palms in their hands. That was Revelation 9 and 7, 9 and 9. All nations, right? So let's look at Genesis. Go back to Genesis, the 35th chapter, and we're going to read verse 10. Genesis 35 and 10. And the Most High, Ba'ashem Mashiach Yahushua, said unto him, unto our forefather Jacob, thy name is Jacob. Thy name shall not be called any more Jacob, but Israel shall be thy name. And he called his name Israel, right? This was Jacob's name was changed to Israel. We became, that's our forefather, while we are the Israelites. It says, and the Most High said unto him, I am the Most High Almighty. Be fruitful and multiply. That's why we became a great multitude. He said, be fruitful and multiply. Listen at this. A nation and a company of nations, plural, shall be of thee, and kings shall come out of thy loins. So we are a nation which represent the 12 tribes of Israel, and we're a company of nations which represent Judah, Benjamin, Levi, Simeon, Zebulun, Ephraim, Manasseh, Gad, Reuben, Naphtali, Asher, and Issachar, those 12 tribes. So we're a great multitude, but we're a great multitude of the nations. We're 12 nations that make up one nation, the 12 tribes of Israel. So, and kindreds, we can to each other. And people, we the same people from the same forefather, Jacob, whose name just was changed to Israel. And tongues, we speak different languages because, look, we scattered among all. Look, we told us in Deuteronomy 28:64. Go there. Deuteronomy 28:64. And you see, we took on, from what we was looking at earlier, we took on the ways of the Greeks. So we were Hellenized, as you would know. It's called we were Greek speaking Jews. That's what Hellenized means. We're Greek speaking Jews. We spoke Greek. Like I said, I did a lesson with brothers that spoke Spanish and brothers that spoke uh Portuguese, had a Portuguese Bible. I spoke English, and another brother spoke Patois. Different languages that we speak. When I went to France, I was in France, they were speaking French. It was all brothers and sisters speaking French. They speaking English, but their main language was French. I mean, you name it, where we at. We speak German. We in Germany, we speak German. When I was in Japan, I learned how to speak Japanese language. I mean, where we go, we're going to learn whatever we got to learn to survive and just communicate. That's how we are. So look at Deuteronomy 28 and 64. And the Most High shall scatter thee among all nations, all people, from the one end of the earth even unto the other. And there thou shalt serve other gods. So we serve these other gods and these other nations, and we don't know how to communicate with them. All the gods of the nations are idols. Tell you that in Psalm 96 and 5. But the Most High made the heavens, where they worship the sun, the moon, the stars, the comets, everything that's in the sky. So we're going to serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, like this Christian insanity madness. These religions that's here today, even wood and stone, that's what we're dealing with. So we told us that. So amongst these nations, you think we ain't learning how to communicate with them? That's us. That's why it's said. Going back to Revelation 7 and 9. I hope y'all see this. Anybody not see it? I mean, that's been here. I'm not talking about anyone just coming in. Don't just catch them tail end of what we're talking about. Hopefully, even you can understand what I'm bringing out from what it is you've seen from just coming in here now. So Revelation 7 and 9, continue what it says. So it says, of all nations and kindreds, because we're the same people, that's why Paul, you said, look at that, all praise the Most High. You turn the page, you go right there, that's the Most High. Wow. Romans 11 and 1. I say that the Most High casts away his people, they try to say you to be a spiritual Israelite, Most High forbid. For I also am an Israelite. He didn't say he's a Christian, he said he's an Israelite. In Hebrews 7:14, it says, it is evident, it's a fact, that our power, Mashiach Yahushua, sprang out of Judah, our forefather Jacob, or Israel, fourth-born son, man. It says, for I also am an Israelite. This Paul, of the seed of Abraham, of the tribe of Benjamin. The Most High has not cast away his people, which he foreknew. You hear that? But look what he said. So we not cast away, y'all, at all. Because he said in verse 14, he says, Romans 11:14, if by any means I may provoke to emulation them which are my flesh, and might save some of them. You see? Because every last Israelite not going to be saved. I don't care what y'all say, how you look at it, try to provoke us to emulation them which are my flesh, and might save some of them. Why you gonna say might save some of them if verse 26 says, and so all Israel shall be saved? All don't mean every last Israelite. It means all means a certain number, as it is written. You see, there shall come out of Zion the deliverer, and shall turn away unrighteousness from Jacob. That's that remnant, not all Israel. Micah 7:18. It's not talking about every last Israelite. What about if you blaspheme the Holy Spirit? Answer that. What's the judgment for that? Blasphemy of the Holy Spirit. Micah 7:18 and 19. Who is a power like unto thee, that pardoneth iniquity, and passes by the transgression of the remnant? of his heritage. Y'all hear that? And passes by the transgression of the remnant. That's that 1/3 of his heritage. He retaineth not his anger forever, because he delighteth in mercy, which is not getting something you do deserve to get. He will turn again. He will have compassion upon us. He will subdue our iniquities, and now will cast all their sins into the depths of the sea. Oh Lord, yeah, all praise to the Most High. Don't that sound great? That's why it's worth, us trying our best to do the best we can to please the Most High, and not just deal with formality of just information. It seems like people just information that don't really have a spirit of the Most High enough to be able to even praise Him. Can't say praise the Most High enough. Nobody ought to even say that. Man, these are the things that they would have you not do. You got to come out of that. Okay, now go back to Revelation 13. Did I finish that? I'm gonna make sure I finish that. Cause I'm gonna verse 9. Okay, it says, verse 9, after this I beheld, and Lord, it's because this is where Christmas Saturday people go to say they part of that great multitude, and they're not. It says, after this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude, which Jacob became a great multitude, which no man could number. We more numerous than the sand of the sea. We read that, right? In all nations, we're 12 nations that make up one nation, and we scattered among all nations and kindreds, different, the 12 tribes of Israel, and people and tongues that would speak different languages, because we scattered among all these different, nations that speak different languages, still before the throne of the Most High, and before the Lamb, the throne of the Hamashiach Yahushua, who's that Lamb, clothed with white robes and palms in their hands, right? So let's see what them white robes could be. So we can find what that could be. Go to Revelation 19, and let's read verse 7 and 8. They say, let us be glad and rejoice and give honor to him, for the marriage of the Lamb has come. The marriage of the Lamb has come. Mashiach Yahushua is that Lamb. And he's like the bride, and we symbolically the bridegroom. That's the 12 tribes of Israel, that remnant that we just read about. And his wife, which represent us, the 12 tribes of Israel, symbolically have made herself ready. That's why I tell you in Jeremiah 6:2, so I liken the daughter of Zion, we the Zion, 12 tribes of Israel, to a comely and delicate woman. Symbolically, right? Listen to her. Verse 8, and to her, we the 12 tribes of Israel, that remnant, was granted that she should be arrayed in fine linen, clean and white, right? For that's the robes that you're going to give us. For the fine linen is the righteousness of saints. So now, the fine linen, what it says in verse 9 of Revelation, the 7th chapter, clothed with white robes and palms in their hands, right? So the robes is what? Fine linen, clean and white, in Revelation 19 and 8. For the fine linen, these robes that they're made of, is the righteousness of saints. You see? So what's righteousness? Class, y'all should know that by heart. Deuteronomy. That's why I say it's very important. Remember these different words that I'll give you to remember, so that when you see these words in the New Testament, you know what it's talking about. Deuteronomy 6:25. Just define righteousness. And it shall be our righteousness. The our is the Israelites. Let's prove that. Deuteronomy 1:1. Deuteronomy 1:1. These be the words which Moses spake unto all Israel. These be the words which Moses spake to all Israel on this side of Jordan in the wilderness, right? So it's talking to the 12 tribes of Israel, because all 12 tribes were in the wilderness with Moses. We were all there. So now when you look at Deuteronomy 6:25 again, and it shall come, and it shall be our, that's the Israelites, ours a personal possessive pronoun showing ownership, righteousness, our righteousness, right? The Israelites' righteousness. We define righteousness here. If we observe to do all these commandments before the Most High, our power, the Most High, the power of who? Abraham, who had a son named Isaac, who had a son named Jacob. And Jacob became, the name was changed to Israel. He became the forefather of the 12 tribes of Israel, period. That's our power, as he have commanded us, right? So the righteousness of saints, the righteousness of saints, right? So his righteousness is those that keep the commandments of the Most High. We read in Psalms 147:19-20, he showed up his word unto Jacob, his statutes and his judgment unto Israel. He had not dealt so with any nation. As for his judgment, they have not known them. Praise ye the Most High. Praise the Most High. So he only gave his word to the Israelites, right? His laws, statutes, commandments to the Israelites. That's why we read earlier how when the Greeks came into power, what they want to do, take us away from our law. Until this day, what they want to do, not have us to go out to be able to bring people back to the Most High's law, statutes, commandments, so that we can remain in captivity and they can remain in power. But it's not going to work because we coming out of that. Khan? Yes, that's right. So it says, so they're clothed with white robes and palms in their hands. So now it talks about these palms in their hands. Like I said, I'm out to, it's going to be a series in this lesson. I'll see that now because it's getting late, and I'm only gonna cover so much tonight, so I'm gonna have to continue because I haven't really. But what I see that I have to go over, I got a lot to go over, so y'all bear with me. So when you go to Second Ezra, second chapter, start at verse 40. It says, Second Ezra in the Apocrypha 2:40. It says, "Take that number, O Zion." Zion is the 12 tribes of Israel. Y'all know how to prove that? How y'all prove Zion? Who Zion is? Help me out. Where we supposed to go? How you prove who Zion is? Anybody know? Help me out here. How do you prove who Zion is? Anybody have a scripture on that one? Help me out here. How do you prove who Zion is? Zion, thou art my people. Anybody know the picture? The scripture for the proof that would say Zion is talking about the 12 tribes of Israel. Okay. I see. Anybody know? Okay. Isaiah 51:16. So I'm telling y'all need to know how to define these words. When you get to the New Testament, you define them by what's written in the scriptures. You ain't got to go to other source. It's right here. Isaiah 51:16. "And I have put my words in thy mouth, and I have covered thee in the shadow of mine hand, that I may plant the heavens and lay the foundations of the earth, and say unto Zion, thou art my people." Say unto Zion, thou art my people. So who's the Most High's people? Matthew 2:6. Say my people. You should know how to define my people. You know how to define Zion now from Isaiah 51:16. I'm telling you, I'm gonna come on here one day and I'm just gonna give quizzes. That's it. And that's all I'm gonna do. How do you prove this? How do you prove that? Because a lot of these things is being, redundant. Well, you're hearing it all the time for all these different lessons. When it comes out, then you need to know where to go to prove these things. So how do you prove who my people is? Here it is right here. Without a shadow of a doubt in Matthew 2 and 6, the second chapter, the sixth verse. And thou, Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, art not the least among the princes of Judah. For out of thee shall come a governor that shall rule my people Israel. See? That's how you prove who my people. He say my people. You're supposed to know how to prove who my people is. It say my people Israel. Point blank. So now, when you see going back to Second Ezra 2 and 40, take thy number in the Apocrypha, O Zion. You know, it's Sion, but it's Zion, and the regular Bible. So it's still, the children of Israel. And set up those of thine that are clothed in white. See, clothed in white again. Remember what we read in Revelations 19. That's why I say it all goes together. It's like a puzzle. The Bible's like a puzzle, but you got to know how to put it together. The Most High Spirit will reveal to you how this all goes together. You take the time to slow down and just study it. You got to study it. See what it says? Revelation 19 and 8, and to her was granted that she should be arrayed in fine linen, clean and white. See, you that white again. White robes. The robes going to be made of linen. For the fine linen is the righteousness of saints. So, okay, well, we got to define the saints. We define righteousness. Now we got to define who the saints are. How do you define who the saints are? Righteousness of the saints, right? So who the saints? How you prove who the saints are? Come on, we go here all the time. Y'all should know this by heart. Bam. I tell you, I'm going to come over here. All I'm going to do is just quiz. I'm telling y'all, better get ready. Because y'all got me working. I'm going to let you work some. Work your brain some. Psalms 48 and 14. He also exalted the horn of his people. This defines who the saints are, y'all. Psalms 148, 14. You just write down Zion, Isaiah 51, 16. The saints, Psalms 148, 14. Who he gave his laws, statutes, and commandments to. Psalms 147, 19 and 20. Just like that. Come on, man. This defines the saints. In Psalms 148, 14. He also exalted the horn, which is the power of the bull's horn, the ram's horn of his people, the praise of all his saints, even of the children of Israel. That proves also who is his people, too. Even of the children of Israel. Who the saints? Who are we? A people near unto the Most High. Praise ye the Most High. Praise ye the Most High. Praise the Most High. Praise you, Most High. So the saints are who? The children of Israel. So how can it be anybody else? How can it be talking about anybody else? Righteousness was given to the Israelites, the laws. So how can it be talking about anybody else? Y'all see that? You see that? I mean, it's pretty clear. Anybody not see it? Going back to Second Ezra, because it says they had palms in their hand. They're clothed with white robes in Revelation 7 and 9, and palms in their hands, right? So we're looking at the palms in their hands. In Second Ezra 2 and 40. Take the number, O Zion, O 12 tribes of Israel, and set up those of thine that are clothed in white. I mean, that's the righteousness of saints, the Israelites. It says, which have fulfilled the law of the Most High. Y'all hear that? This is Mashiach coming back. He say, those that have fulfilled the law of the Most High. You think it's important? You poor y'all people preachers better hear this. Give it to your preacher, whoever, your minister, or pastor, whoever it is, have fulfilled the law of the Most High. Listen. The number of thy children whom thou longest for is fulfilled. That remnant. Beseech the power of the Most High that thy people, who are the 12 tribes of Israel, which have been called from the beginning, may be hallowed. You say, our Ezra saw upon the Mount Zion, a great people whom I could not number. Remember that great multitude? You see it here again, who we could not number. And they all praised the Most High with songs. We're going to go to the kingdom singing songs. And in the midst of them, there was a young man of a high stature, taller than all the rest, a Mashiach Yahushua. And upon every one of their heads, he set crowns. That's powers and authority for them 144,000 that we read about, 12,000 from each of the 12 tribes of Israel that we read about earlier. And was more exalted. So to be exalted, to be more exalted, you have to be exalted. He was more exalted, which I marveled at greatly, he said. So I asked the angel and said, because he was dealing with, Most High always deal with us with angels. He talked to us through angels, spirits. So this is Uriel that was dealing with Ezra. He said, the angel Uriel. So I asked the angel, who is Uriel? Let me prove that. Chapter 4, 2 Ezra 4 and 1. And the angel that was sent unto me, whose name was Uriel, gave me an answer. See? Just like the angel came to Moses in Exodus 3 and 2 all the time. Came to Joseph and Mary and Zechariah and Elizabeth, Daniel. I mean, he sent his angels to talk to us, to deal with us. It says, verse 43, 2 Ezra, the second chapter, verse 43. And in the midst of them, there was a young man of a high stature, Mashiach Yahushua, taller than all the rest, and upon every one of their heads, he set crowns. That's power and authority, y'all. And was more exalted, which I marveled at greatly, he said. So I asked the angel, who was Uriel, and said, Sir, what are these? So what's going on here? He answered and said unto me, These be they that have put off the mortal clothing, these mortal bodies that we have, and put on the immortal, meaning being able to live forever, and have confessed the name of the Most High, while Mashiach Yahushua, Bashama Mashiach Yahushua. Now are they crowned and receive palms. See? Now they crown and receive what? Palms. So what did it say in verse 9 of Revelation 7? Now this I beheld a lo, a great multitude which no man could number, of all nations and kindreds and people and tongues. We the Israelites scattered among all these nations, speaking all these different languages, stood before the throne and before the Lamb, before Mashiach Yahushua. And it's telling you, clothed with white robes, white linen is the righteousness of the saints. We read that. And palms in their hands. This is where the palms in their hands came from. What we saying, he gonna put the palms in our hands. Most High will, if we worthy. It said in 2 Ezra 2 and 45, he answered and said unto me, These be they that have put off the mortal clothing and put on the immortal, and have confessed the name of Yahweh, Bashama Mashiach Yahushua. Now are they crowned and receive palms. See? The righteousness of the saints. Receive palms in the hands. Here it is. This one is happening. Then said I unto the angel, who was Uriel, what young person is it that crowneth them and giveth them palms in their hands? So he answered and said unto me, It is the Son of the Most High. That's a Mashiach Yahushua. We're in the Old Testament. It is the Son of the Most High, whom they have confessed in the world. See? Then began I greatly to commend them that stood so stiff before the Yahweh Bashama Mashiach Yahushua, the name of the Most High. Well, Mashiach Yahushua. See? So there it is right there. Just as you can see. Hopefully, everybody can see. But I gave a lot of meat tonight. I'm going to continue because it's a lot that I want to go into to finish this off, because there's a lot that I only covered about not even a quarter of what all I want to go over. So, because the Spirit was even going answering certain things that was coming out that, like I have a guideline, but the Spirit brings more as I go into these scriptures. So, while I'll say it's probably going to be a few more times that I got to bring it out to be able to bring everything that needs to come out for this particular topic, because we're looking at everything. you know, order of everything. And so I hope that was edifying. If you have any questions, you can comment, and I'll answer them to the best of my ability. I hope you were edified. If not, go over this. We might go over it a few times so you'll know, you know, our story. Okay. And with that, I say, Krum Abanawa Yahweh, Krum Mashiach Yahushai, and Krum Yasharala, and I'm out. Y'all join me on street of Hollywood Boulevard tomorrow, approximately at 1:30 a.m. No, p.m. So like I'll be asleep hopefully at 1:30 a.m., 1:30 p.m. tomorrow Pacific time. And I'm out. Shalom. The water for joining me. Happy Shabbat.